Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of the ACC's Netball podcast court session, brought to you by the Export Beer Garden Studio. We are covering the Tiny Jamison Trophy Cadbury Series, New Zealand versus England. My name is Sam Winders, and with me once again is Erena Mikaere. And boy, oh boy, do we have some chatting to do this morning, E?
Oh, we do. We do. I don't know how to feel. Sammy, there's lots to talk about. Where do we start?
There is. So, well, basically, if you've missed the big news, the Silver Ferns were pantsed basically by the English team that were getting a lot of stick in the media about bringing a so-called B team to New Zealand, right? And then went and humbled our poor Silver Ferns by beating them in the first game of this series. And not just beating them. I mean, they ended up beating them by 1. But the English team basically rolled their bench. They cleared the bench almost. They had a number of debutants play. They were up by 10 in the third quarter. It was a spectacle.
It was like, when your brain and your mind and your heart are in different places, like you're like, I want to say for the girls, like back them and say, look, they just look flat, and I do think they'll beat them in the next 2 coming games. And then I'm like, on the other hand, like, what the heck was going on? What in the, how did that eventuate? Where did it stem from? So, man, I don't know, like everyone, I was sitting at home calling coaches' moves, right? Like I was like, nah, you've got to put such and such on. Nah, you've got to take such and such on. But when you're there, and I know from doing like coaching, it ain't that easy. It ain't that easy from what you see on TV and what's going on and the feel of the girls. And like commentator kept saying like Mills was sick, but came out and played outstanding. But I don't know. There's so much in my head. Where do we start? We start with the first off. We spoke about in the last game. There was some chat thrown around. Like, do we start there? Because
I feel like we should, because I think any great media outlet will apologise for things that they have said, or not even media outlets. I think anybody who is of good nature should apologise when things that they say turn out to be absolutely wrong. And I'm not talking about us at all, because we...
Oh, I was going to say, are we apologising if you put down the bet on TAB?
I am suggesting that certain people maybe need to release a statement addressing comments that were made 3 weeks ago when England Netball announced their team. To be fair, at the time, maybe we had not we, certain people in Netball New Zealand had the right to be disappointed in the team that England sent. And now that I think about it, if they had sent their A team, what would the score have been like in that case?
Well, that's what I thought. Maybe they knew, like, because they're young and unorthodox. You don't know what this team was giving. And actually, I felt like England have some great talent coming through. I was like, damn. And Sasha Glasgow, she played for Fever. So I was like, they ain't that much of a B team, right? If that's your B team, man, you're killing it.
That was her debut, Sasha Glasgow, and she did unreal. And that was the English goal shoot. So, well, that's quite interesting, because this is a quote from Jenny Wiley. Sorry, Jenny, throwing you under the bus, mate. Who said, "It will be really interesting to see if this English team will live up to their perceptions of them being the future and an exciting crop of talent." I think they did. So interesting.
Do you come back out and say they did live up to their terms?
Yeah, because then she's not withdrawing comments, right? She's just agreeing with. Well, she's saying
just said it was
the answer is yes.
I found out my answer, guys. It's yes.
Yeah. Then the other thing is, like, she could almost just turn it around on her team. Like, comments like, We're angry. What we can control is what we put out on court and the quality of the product and the pride of the black dress.
Wait, is this what she said, or is this what you think she should come out and say?
This is what she said 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I did some digging.
So you went right back 3 weeks ago.
I did. Just to stir the pot a little bit. It's already been stirred. Everybody's all up in it. It'll die down in the next few days. That's okay. So we're just jumping in on here and just, we're not saying we're here or there in regard to
is this then therefore a lesson? Is this then therefore a lesson? I guess totally. Not for just sport in general, but people, like if we bring up like life in general, that we should not, one, assume, and two, put it out there in the universe, or like just chuck those words out there for it to come back and slap us in the face. Exactly. I don't know.
And then if you do choose to say something, you have to know in yourself the consequences of your statements being false and just be ballsy and apologise for it. I find that that's a big thing to do. So watch the space. Let's see where this goes. And so I made a list of people who need to apologise. Netball New Zealand, that could potentially be one because there's just a lot of statements in the media. I couldn't find anything from Dame Knowles, so that's good from her. Jenny Wiley said she had a colourful conversation with Dame Knowles, but didn't specify what was said, so that's fine.
I think that's good.
The commentators, I think that's good for Knowles, shot Knowles. The commentators haven't really, they didn't help. It was quite funny actually, in the pre-match build-up, just interesting. But I think the commentators seemed to be a bit on England's side, which was funny. They were like, "Get up, England."
I didn't like from the commentators at halftime. Someone said, "This is disastrous." I was like, "Wait, what?"
I know. I needed a bit of comedy in there to make me laugh. And then finally, we talked about the other day, Phoenix Karaka, new vice captain. She said, "Are they taking the piss?" So, are you taking the piss? Nah,
man. These poor girls. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hereby sit here and think, well, if we had Grace and maybe Peta, that's in my my head, it'd be like we would have drowned Trauster, because I just feel like that would have been the case. Do you not?
Well,
okay, cool.
I don't know, maybe it's an individual, maybe it's a game plan thing. I don't know if it's individuals that need to be in the mix, or maybe it's just a game plan. Because I find it interesting, if you want some netball
knowledge,
and
chat,
analysis of the game, they haven't. The Ferns are playing a very similar game that they've played for as long as Knowles has been around, which definitely worked when they had those older girls, Maria, Casey, etc. Like that worked, and they're kind of playing around that. I can see what they're doing in their defensive end and the setups that they're trying to make, but they actually didn't get a lot of ball. That barely any intercepts, maybe like 2 intercepts in that whole game. So they're just not getting enough ball, in my opinion. And smart attackers, which is actually what those English girls were, figured out the defensive setup. So the Ferns just sat in a box. And they kind of just played around it. And as soon as someone drove through the middle, a D would shut it off, and then the other attacker would open up. So they just fully played around it until it was open. And those English girls look fast. So maybe they'll address that and go to maybe a little bit more man on, because that's kind of what England did to us, pressured like most catches. And that's kind of hard to play against. So
I would have to agree. More netball chat. I would have to agree. I think we haven't come to the fact that I think in Aussie SSN, what they've been playing in, it's been amazing. They've had all these players like that lot from England, and they're developing, a lot is going through there and whatnot. But I think we haven't gone from knowing that Australia are trying to play the box that we play as well. Like that, I've seen teams implement it in SSN. Although they are much tighter,
No, their boxes are
It's
pathetic.
they're still trying. Yeah, but they're still trying. Like they still have learnt. Like Sasha Glasgow, the goal shoot from England, she learnt to punch out the middle. Break this. I'm going to go straight out the middle. Then I get to pass these aside. None of you are there. I thought we were maybe just a little bit too tight on D, to be able to go look for some of those. And like I said, I just think maybe flat, like something was going on. And you don't know what people were going through. They were all had black armbands on. I couldn't
I was
didn't know
wondering
if
if
that
that was
was
for Robin Broughton, but I didn't know.
oh yes, I think that would be correct. I thought maybe it was the first one since Tiny, but I think that was worn a little while ago. But
My
yeah, you
husband
would be
goes.
right.
My husband goes, well, that's a waste of electrical tape. So,
Oh, typical male. Nah. All right. Wow. Can we talk about the girls when they were on the sideline and like you're okay. So what happened last night is I thought changes needed to be made earlier. Sammy, you've been in this situation before. What's the thought of when you're on the sideline and you're thinking, damn, do I need to warm up because like we're down by 10 currently, like surely I'm going on. But then you're also sitting there, and maybe this is a little bit when you're a bit younger, and some of those girls are younger, you go, no, don't put me on. I really want to play, but maybe like, please, can we please go up? Or, maybe don't put me on. What you've been in this situation before, right?
I feel like those girls on the sideline all want to play. Like they are of a generation where they I don't want to say rate themselves, but they back themselves, so they're like very confident in their abilities. So they'll be itching to get on. But what I find interesting is my experience. This is not experience. Like Knowles is always about, if I look at you and say, I need you on, I need you ready. So you need to be like up and down off your seat, warming up the whole time. There's like a strict protocol around warming up. So they'll be ready to go. But what I find really funny is the fear when you're on the court and maybe you've made one mistake, you've broken on a centre pass or you've thrown a ball away. And it's like the coach's first instinct is to be like, shit, they need to come off. And I'll look down the bench and point at someone and say, get here, stand next to me, put a bib on, get on. And so if you're the player that's running around in court and you've made one mistake, you're just automatically oh man, that's the end of my game. I've definitely been in that place before.
Yeah, do you know what's worse is you're on court and you can literally see that person going to the coach and they're putting your bib on and they're sitting there and you're like, nah, no. Like I've made one mistake.
So the tactic to avoid that, because the coach has to tell you to call time out. There's not like rolling subs, you just run off or whatever.
I've seen this before.
The coach is like, Sammy, call time. And so you just don't look at them.
Just pretend you can't hear. I've seen that done before.
Avoid eye contact. You just carry on.
Do you know
going.
what?
You run up and down the other side of the court, furthest away from the bench. I want to see how long someone can do that for, eh?
Do you know what? I would love to see that too, but as the goalkeeper, because I can see and hear everything from the back when I'm on, if the coach is yelling, Sammy, I'd be like, oi, Sammy. And you'd look at me and I'd be like, look at the coach. Now, look, you're off. Get off. Because I'm just so blasé to things like that and I want to win. So I'm like, it must be the change that needs to happen. So I'd call out your name, point you out, make you look at the bench. So you'd have to ignore me and the coach as well.
You again.
Don't look at me. Right, so let's go to it. We lost. Now, the interview post-game. Meals looks like, I don't know if it's gutted. I think it's done with losing. She was like, can we not do this anymore? I think her statement was, I'm sick of these losing interviews, because as the losing interviewee, Captain Sammy, do you go first?
No, you go second.
You go second.
I mean, it's probably the least hard job of being a captain is doing the interviews after the game. So I would be more concerned about winning the next game rather than having to do the interview. That's my opinion. opinion. I tell you, I have done plenty of those interviews, and I just kind of, I don't know, have a little laugh
You just
every now
kind
and
of
then
go
about
to,
it.
yeah, and then I remember you'd just pick out one thing that was maybe good, and then things
Yeah.
obviously that you got to focus on going forward.
Yeah, hard, which is funny. But if she wants to do something else, we can totally come up with an idea for her. If you'd rather
So instead
not
of doing
do,
the interview,
yeah, if you'd rather not
yeah,
do a losing interview, we can come up with a list of punishments she can pick from post game to do.
yeah, like
What do you reckon?
burpees.
So first of all, well, we've seen it a few times. They got down troused by the English team, so maybe the Ferns just need to do an undie run up and down the court, like.
Is that just the captain or whole team?
Yeah. Oh, do you know the Ferns are probably so close that if one person had to do it, they'd all join in.
They'd
Don't you
just do
think?
all do it. Yeah. I was thinking punishments like burpees, but I think that's a goodie.
Oh
Like
yeah,
how
you could put that on the list. Burpees are a universal ick. So maybe
punishment.
like 50 burpees, or as many burpees as how old you are.
Oh no, that's not
That's what
cool.
the gym makes you do on your birthday. I don't like
It
that.
does.
I don't go to the
But
gym on my birthday.
it does, but it's so that'd be sad. I'd be out there burping one.
Yeah,
Wow,
till
that
the
young
cows come
shooter who
home.
has
You
not
will be
what's our newest young shooter's name?
Amelia
Edna's brains.
Walmsley.
Yes, she'd probably do like 5, and I'd be standing there doing 20 more. You know, like
20 more. Okay, try that.
30 more. But hey, that's not a baddie.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
She could put burpees. What about like a shoey, some sort of skull of some awful kind?
That would be so good.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
we should implement this. Do you know what? I thinking about this, okay, like, and when we won the World Cup a few years ago, not the one that's recently gone, let's not bring that up.
Yeah.
They won money, right? Or not money, they got some money towards
Now the sponsors felt bad for them, so they put some money together to give to the girls.
wow. I
Yeah.
thought because they won, they had some money. I thought losing, would you want to pay money?
Oh, punishment.
So, like,
yeah.
yeah, like a fine because you lost, and then you wouldn't want to lose.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
I
I've
wouldn't.
heard of coaches. Do you know I've heard of coaches in the ANZ League who say, if you guys get 75% on the centre pass to score stat, I'll put $200 in the kitty or something like that.
Stop it.
That's a rich coach. I need that.
I want to play for that coach.
Hard.
I want to play for that coach.
I'll tell you afterwards who it is.
Okay, yeah, please do. My winning idea for us is, I don't know, this just came to me because of the Warriors, and bless my soul, in New Zealand we lost, but hey, it's okay. You know how the rugby and the league coaches are up in a box and they sit there with their TVs and whatnot, and they look down from there, and how I was saying earlier,
and their lights,
yeah,
their little flashlights, yeah,
wow,
laser
you could
beams.
have a laser and like pointed at the field, but that would be bad
like,
if you
run here.
Yeah, exactly. And your coach had a red laser, and the other coach had a green laser, so you always try to get in the way of the green one. No,
and then
anyway,
everyone just looks like cats chasing a laser.
anyway, that idea about for netball, you put Knowles, I'm thinking, because when you're watching from TV, and I feel like everybody does this because we see the comments online, it's like, oh, coach should have done this, should have done that, should have done that. It's easier to watch from like a higher level. So I feel like when you're watching the game on TV, you're looking down on the players. Maybe we pop the coaches in a box, and that way you can't see them when they're like, hey, Sammy, come stand by me. I'm going to tell you how to warm up while Erena's on court and you're going into position. You can't. All you can see
down to the physio.
And they're talking to physio. And all you have to deal with is a physio who's mainly the coolest person on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel.
And then it seems like the changes come from the physio. And when you come off and you give the physio a high five, or the manager, because they're always GBs too, you give them a high five and you're like, it's all good because it was just you guys and you love me anyways.
I feel like we solved the world problems here for netball.
Hard. Oh, everyone will just feel so good about themselves. Although, okay, so I just did some coaching. I finished coaching a secondary school team, and we had our tournament week. And I kind of have to say, I feel like I coached this team through every single pass that they made. And I feel like if I didn't, we just would have had a mare of a tournament. And that might be really like, what do you call it, out there of me thinking I'm the reason. But, like some coaches just have to tell everybody what they need to do every single moment of the time. So coaches won't enjoy it, but I actually think it'll give players freedom, because I was very aware of that. I was like, I know that you need to throw that there and I want to tell you that. But at the same time, I'd like to see if you make that decision on your own. But we've gone a whole season of realizing they couldn't make that decision on their own, so I had to help them.
So you had to get in there.
I had to get involved. But at this level, surely players have the freedom to, like if you've done your job as a coach, you don't need to yell every single pass of the game. So you can go sit up in the box and not point your laser even. There's an idea.
Yeah. Although you've got me right at a great segue, Sammy, into the next point I was thinking about.
Go.
You might have an like something there, because Liana Leota, okay, firstly, I've got like two things on this. Does she feel great because she essentially won as coach for the England side for that game in their first outing? Does she feel a little bit like, is there any love for New Zealand? Because I don't know how I'd feel. Like no matter where you are, you're still like, New Zealand sports, we need to win everything. But but she was also yelling every pass, every step of the way. There was at one point the cam switched over to her and she's like, yeah, great work, pass left, but right and drive, cut that base hard. Like she's yelling all these things. Like she
was so animated.
Just go. Yeah. And Knowles is just watching as she does, like taking it all in.
Smile, Knowles. Smile.
I do think they'll go back and they'll look at the video and they'll come back and be like, yep, we do this, this and this, and it'll change the game completely. That's for Ferns. But Liana, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think there's not many like netball examples of New Zealand coaches coaching other teams that are super competitive with New Zealand. Like there's a lot of netball coaches who go out and help teams like Fiji or Wales or things like that. So this is probably the first example where a New Zealand coach has coached a team that's actually obviously very competitive and beaten New Zealand. So yeah, I reckon she'll be stoked. It's not like she missed. I don't think she's ever applied for the Ferns job and missed out. So she's not feeling like, oh man, yeah, definitely need to get up on New Zealand kind of thing. I can't imagine that. But she will be, definitely pumped. Like she's been working with these girls for a long time. So maybe that helps too. But surely the patriotic part of her is a little bit like, throw the game, Liana, throw the game, which I thought she was going to do at the end there. She made a lot of changes, pulled like her best players off, basically cleared her bench. And then next thing you know, they only won by one. So I was like, what's she doing?
Dun.
Get up, New Zealand. I thought that was...
It was a great game. It showed some things for us. No, not for the Silver Ferns, but I thought it was great in terms of it showed some things for us. It showed places. And if we learned anything from the loop.
But I feel like we said this at the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We learned anything from the World Cup. We need to learn now. So that's fine. Put it in. For me, watching that netball game, it's easy to analyze. I was like, do this on defense. Stop this, stop that drive, stop this, keep them on, keep certain things in certain places, people is in things, and do this on attack. We should be fine. But
just don't throw the ball away.
And coach. Yeah. Catch, pass, score goals.
We back the girls for the next one. I think I'm going to put it out there and say, well, the next game is Wednesday night in Porirua, Te Rauparaha Arena. At 7:30. So tune into that and see what you reckon. But I'm gonna stick with my previous predictions for the series and say that the Ferns will come out firing and have a big win. What do you reckon?
I'm sticking with the Ferns. I believe in the Ferns.
Yeah,
I think we have the better player in caliber and whatnot. We got this. Come on,
they got to back themselves, but they cannot underestimate their opposition. And now they've seen them play. They should know. They got to know I'd like to see some radical game plan too, some strategy where they just
some out of it game plan, eh? Like have
yeah,
something out of it go on. Like I always want
hard.
teams to do something out of it. Like have the center. I don't know.
Or even as just like run man on the whole game and see if you can do it. Just see how that goes. Anyways, we'll be watching intently,
And that's not up to
and
us.
can I put it out there if anybody's got any suggestions or
Yeah.
questions or things that you like to ask? Message
Chuck
it
me a
in.
DM. Slide in the
Yeah,
DMs.
hard.
I
Should
read them.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totes.
Let's go. So, Sammy, that's us. We're
Man,
back again to
yeah,
recap. Would we be
yeah.
back on Thursday morning?
Yeah. We'll be back in your ear holes later on this week to recap the next game. And if England win, let's just put that out there now. If England win, that's a series like decided. So New Zealand need a win to stay in it, to keep hold of this Tony Jamison trophy. Let's do it for tiny people, and let's do it for whoever they were wearing their black armbands for the other night too. So get up the Ferns. We got your back.
Up the Ferns.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to put it out there. I'll do an undie run if we lose.
Okay.
Just down my driveway, guys. You might not see it, but I'll do it. So that's us.
Video evidence where it didn't happen. Yeah, that's us. We'll be back in your house this week.